welcome to week 10. So in week 8, we introduced the Turing machine model of computing, and then last week we started to explore the limits of that Turing machine model by giving a couple of examples of functions that Turing machines aren't going to be able to compute. So compared to finite state automata and a circuit-based model of computing, you might have noticed that the limits of what Turing machines are and are not able to compute are sort of more difficult to pin down. Examples of the uncomputable functions we've seen have been those that have enabled us to state some sort of paradox of some kind. So this kind of makes it difficult for us to actually develop some sort of good intuition for exactly what Turing machines are and are not going to be able to compute. This week what we're going to do is we're going to start expanding our understanding of the limits of Turing machines by discussing a new tool for demonstrating uncomputability, which is something called reductions. The idea behind a reduction is that we're going to be able to demonstrate some functions aren't computable by showing that they share some sort of relationship with another function that we already knew wasn't computable. So what this means is that as we start to learn more and more and more uncomputable functions, we're actually going to be better equipped to show that additional functions are uncomputable as well. So this week what we're going to do is that we're going to introduce this idea of reductions. We're going to give some examples of how to use these reductions to show problems to be uncomputable. And we're going to end this week by talking about something called Rice's theorem, which is kind of the closest thing that we have to some sort of clear statement dividing what is and is not computable. So, as a warning, this week's content is generally considered to be kind of the most subtle and the most conceptually difficult of the entire course. So please be careful while you're thinking about these concepts and these problems, as you're going to find that there are actually many situations where your intuition is going to lead you to the exact wrong conclusion. So don't trust your intuition here. Be very, very precise and intentional while you're approaching the problems and the concepts for this week. What I have found, though, with this topic of reductions especially, is that that topic is one that will sort of suddenly click for a lot of students. So I've had many experiences in the past where I've been talking with students confused by this concept of reductions, and then I can literally watch their facial expressions change as they have that sudden moment of realization for what's going on. So I encourage you and I ask that you please be patient with yourselves and please be patient with your cohort mates, especially this week. So just because it feels like you're working hard on these topics and maybe you don't feel like you're making much progress, I promise that as you continue thinking about these concepts and discussing these concepts with members of the course staff, with your cohort mates, with your friends, and asking questions, then your moment of realization is going to come eventually. So just keep working hard until that moment comes, and it's going to feel great when it does. So I personally look forward to chatting with you and all of the questions that you might have over Discord and in office hours.